Good afternoon. My name is Debbie Nesbitt, and I'm a Chartered Resources and Waste Manager working with RPS. Thanks to Invest in I for inviting me to speak to you today and introduce you to the circular economy. In June last year, the UK government announced its commitment to the EU Circular Economy Package. The Circular Economy Package introduces a revised legislative framework identifying the steps for the reduction of waste and establishing an ambitious and credible long-term path for waste management, materials management and recycling. Later you will hear from Alberta Polly of the Department of the Economy, who will set out what is currently being done in Northern Ireland in terms of the Circular Economy Strategic Framework and the Green Growth Strategy to progress the opportunities for a circular economy in Northern Ireland. Today I will cover several aspects, including defining the term circular economy, taking a look at circular economy principles and how a circular economy works. We will look at the potential business benefits associated with embracing more circular practices and look at various circular economy business models. Finally, I will go through some case studies and examples of circular economy in practice in the business setting. So, what is the definition of a circular economy? A circular economy is defined as an alternative to the current linear economy in which we take resources, produce, consume, and generate waste. In a circular economy, we design and manufacture systems and products in such a way to eliminate the concept of waste by enabling the recovery and reuse of all materials for as long as possible at the highest value possible at all times. In a linear model, resources are extracted or mined, manufactured and produced, transported to the consumer to use, and then disposed of in the form of waste. The linear model emerged as resources were considered to be cheap and abundant. Under the linear model, it is estimated that the world will produce over 2 billion tonnes of municipal solid waste annually, and global waste is expected to grow to generate to 1.4 billion tonnes a year by 2050. In light of this, international agencies such as the United Nations are making agreements to rethink our production systems so that we significantly reduce our reliance on materials and, as a result, our environmental impact and carbon impact. An alternative system to tackle these environmental challenges is a closed loop or a circular economy system. Unlike the current system of linear economy in which is based on extract, produce, waste. The circular economy is a model that suggests designing, making and using products and materials at the highest value possible at all times to avoid waste generation and externalities. But if we consider government's ambition, we now also need to consider how the circular economy becomes the carbon economy. A circular economy is enabled through circular design and implementing reverse logistics that allow for the recovery of products through renting, reusing, sharing, reselling, and as a last option, recycling. At its core, a circular economy means that products no longer have a life cycle with a beginning, middle, and end. If a product is truly circular, it might never have an end to its life, but continually take on new forms and remain of value. Underpinned by a transition to renewable energy sources, the circular model builds economic, natural, and social capital. According to the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, the circular economy is based on 3 principles: designing out waste and negative externalities, keeping products and materials in use at the highest possible value at all times, and regenerating our natural ecosystem. More specifically, if we look at designing out waste and negative externalities, everything around us has been designed. The clothes we wear, the buildings we live and work in, and the systems that deliver food and mobility. Today, most things have been designed for a linear take, make, waste model. In industries such as fashion and plastics packaging, products and systems are designed in such a way that more than 80% of material flows are destined for landfill, incineration, or even leaked into natural environments. In a circular economy, waste is a flaw of design. So waste is to be designed out or avoided from the design stage. Rather than focusing on recovering waste and exploring what to do with it, we should shift our mindset to avoid generating waste in the first place. That means that products are designed with their end of life in mind. For example, designing modular products that can be disassembled in multiple parts at the end of a product life allows us to recover every piece of the product. Or material substitution, where you use renewable, low carbon, or secondary materials as alternative inputs to new production. These secondary materials provide the same function but contribute to lower carbon emissions. If we look at keeping products and materials in use at the highest possible value at all times, apart from designing products with the end of their life cycle in mind, there are multiple strategies that can be undertaken to ensure that products and materials stay within the economy without ending up in the biosphere. Those strategies include renting rather than buying, repairing, remanufacturing, keeping products in use for longer by reusing, sharing, reselling, and ultimately recycling as a last alternative. So it's about changing our economic logic to rent, reuse, redistribute what you can, repair what is broken, remanufacture what cannot be repaired, and recycle only what cannot be remanufactured. As William McDonough states in the quote at the beginning of this presentation, there is no waste in nature, where everything is food and a resource for something else. A leaf that falls from a tree feeds the forest. So in a circular economy, we are able to regenerate our natural ecosystems by returning valuable nutrients to the biosphere via our soils, waters, and atmosphere. But how does a circular economy work? A circular economy is achieved by designing products smartly with their whole life cycle in mind, reusing and repairing to extend their useful life, and then when life is deemed over, remanufacturing to create new products for mold. There are several routes to embracing circular economy, including design. Products are made using regenerative materials and modular design techniques in order to be longer lasting and easier to disassemble and repair. In essence, to design out waste. Reuse and repair. Product life cycles are extended by maintenance and repair, so they remain in their original use for as long as possible. This could include manufacturers retaining ownership of their products and implementing reuse and repair services. Recycling. Ensuring products can be easily separated into their component parts and materials, enabling use in new products, displacing use of virgin materials. Manufacturing products with circular economy principles built in at the design stage. Remanufacturing and reuse is extending the lifetime of products at the end of their first life by repurposing them or enabling other subsequent uses. And finally, looking at leasing and as a service business models. Overseeing the full lifespan of your products creates a truly stable business model with a steady income and leads to a sharing economy. But every business is different. Therefore, moving to circular business model can be something about just making a small change that can make a big difference in the long run. Circular business models lend themselves to substituting primary material inputs into secondary production, extending the useful lifetime of products through design for longer average lifespans and enabling a second life, and enabling material recycling. Making the transition to a circular model starts with identifying which circular model best fits your organization. So what business model could work for you? Analyze the way you operate your business while thinking circular. This may open your eyes to opportunities and potential benefits you may not have spotted without this circular brainstorm activity. Rethink your materials. Think about where you source your raw materials from. Perhaps another business is already outputting the same materials as a waste product. Have you engaged with Invest NI's resource matching service? Always think of ways to simplify the product journey. This could work the other way too. Consider what you currently think of as a waste. Is this something you could sell as a resource to another company? You could be sitting on potential extra revenue without realizing. And also think about monitoring product and material usage to reduce energy consumption and cut your carbon footprint. So think digital. Technology presents a lot of options right now in industry. Using this to your advantage could be your company's opening to a circular model. For example, cutting down on labour and material needs through 3D printing or streamlining distribution with modern tracking systems. Think about design, manufacturing, and distribution. All of this can be done digitally in efficient ways that help the planet. Could you evolve your business model to include fitting and maintenance, selling contracts instead of products to customers? Overseeing the full lifespan of your product creates a truly stable business model with a steady income. No more fluctuation month to month. Continuing service means building customer loyalty on a whole new level. Why not assess the real lifespan of your products to decide if you could make this sort of shift and retain more ownership of your product? Improve your design. Could you design a better product from the offset? Your product may already sell really well, but has it been built with the whole life cycle in mind? Is your product reliable? Is it durable? At the end of its life, could it be repurposed or would it simply need to be thrown away? Interrogating your product like this can feel like a bit too much, but think of it this way. Circular design opens up so many possibilities for eager designers, and you can be right at the forefront of the circular movement in Northern Ireland. So remember, every business is different. Moving to a circular business model can sometimes be about making those small changes that make a big difference in the long run. But why not interrogate your business practices? Speak to other businesses operating on a circular model for advice and seek out innovations, and then speak to Invest NI about how you could put things in motion. So what are the potential benefits for my business? Businesses, organizations, and industries who can embrace the opportunities and benefits of a circular economy will have a competitive advantage in the long run. The circular economy is about making things last, and there are lots of ways to do it, each with unique opportunities to cut costs and increase profits and introduce new ways to grow and diversify your business. The potential business benefits include less money spent on materials. The whole idea of a circular economy is to hold on to as much value as possible from products, parts, and resources. This robust, efficient way of working ultimately leads to spending less on raw materials. Better customer relationships. The circular business model moves from selling products to offering a service. Businesses tend to hold on to the responsibility, meaning increased customer contact for servicing, maintenance, and repair. This presents an opportunity to offer great customer service and retain customers for life. Less waste. Millions of tons of materials are wasted every year as a result of over-ordering, incorrect ordering, or damaged products. This means money is wasted too. Reusing materials and maximizing resources leads to less waste, cutting environmental impact and wastage costs. You'll hear shortly a case study example where a business achieved value from their waste products. Growth opportunities. Switching your operations to a circular business model creates a demand for new services and skill sets. You may need to hire remanufacturing experts or marketeers who can help you reach the right sort of market. And finally, less risk. A circular business model offers a stable working process and boosts resiliency. No more supply errors or price spikes in the supply chain, and a stronger ability to deal with unexpected changes in the business. I'm going to move on now and talk about a number of case studies. The first case study involves food valorisation, and it has been conducted by a dairy operating in the UK. The business name has been withheld due to commercial sensitivities. Firstly, valorisation is the process of converting food waste materials into products, including chemicals, materials, and fuels. This approach is attracting renewed interest in the food sector due to the fast depletion of natural and primary resources, increased waste generation, and the need for more sustainable and cost-efficient waste management protocols. This business produced whey as a waste product of the cheese making process. Typically, whey is difficult to dispose of due to its high organic content. It can be pre-treated to allow it to be used as a low-quality animal feed or fertilizer. However, the company realized that there was a growing demand in valorization of whey to produce higher value products, such as the conversion of whey lactose into prebiotics. The company did trials and research and now have made it feasible to produce higher value substrates for use in the cosmetic and pharmaceutical industries, such as prebiotics for gut health products and infant formula. This example has led to a reduction of the dairy waste and disposal costs for the business, a production of a valuable product, generation of an additional revenue stream for the business, the creation of jobs, as well as other environmental gains. The next case study is based on refurbishment and resale. Vita are based in Newtownabbey. Their entire business model is based around sustainability and fulfilling circular economy targets by promoting reuse over recycling. Vita produce sustainable and secure solutions across Ireland and the UK, helping their clients extract the maximum value from redundant IT assets, ensuring they can be used effectively for as long as possible. If the product is at end of life and cannot be reused, components are recovered and reused. Where materials cannot be reused in the manufacturing chain, they are recycled sustainably in accordance with the Waste Electrical and Electronic Equipment Directive. Vita say that less than 1% of materials from IT disposals now ends up in landfill. Vita resell the refurbished IT through their e-commerce site called refreshedbyus.com. And they work in partnership with social enterprises and charities to supply retired and refurbished technology. This process empowers vulnerable people or disadvantaged students while contributing to societal and corporate social responsibility goals. The next two case studies take a quick look at manufacturers who wish to increase their post-consumer recycled content in products. Unilever wants to achieve greater than 70% post-consumer recycled content in household cleaning products, especially strong formulations like Domestos bleach. The issue is that the direct contact between the chemicals and the post-consumer recycled plastic can lead to environmental stress cracking, which affects the integrity of the bottle. They have got to 30% recycled content. They believe it's possible to get to 50% and now are conducting trials and tests to see if the bottle can remain robust during blowing and mechanical stress tests to allow them to reach 70% post-consumer recycled content. Frontier Plastics manufacture sharp spins and clinical waste containers. They did research and purchased a material handling system and testing equipment, enabling them to include 20% recycled polypropylene in one of their products and 100% content in another. Packaging is now responsible for half of all global waste, and with e-commerce growing rapidly around the globe, this company called Packaging developed the concept to make packaging more carbon neutral. The company have devised two products, one called Palarang, which is to cut down on pallet shrink wrap, and the other is called Packarang, and that uses a reusable mail bag envelope concept. Packaging works by the business stipulating how many mailer bags they need per month. Then they are branded with the business logo, and the business ships the products in the mailer bag rather than using cardboard boxes, tapes, and fillers. The customer then returns the empty foldable mailer bag at their local return point and gets rewarded for returning in the form of loyalty points, coupons and prize draws, etc. Packaging then collect the bags to check and clean them at the sorting centre, and once cleared, the correct number of bags are then transported back to the business in monthly batches to be reused again. The final case study involves waste reprocessing. So Gannon Eco are based in Westmeath, and they diversified from construction through innovative product development into reprocessing industrial wastes into various products. They had a family business supplying concrete blocks, ready-mix concrete, gravel and aggregates to the building industry, but when the recession impacted, that market died, and as a result, they began looking at ways to diversify the business. They started by taking in car windscreens, cleaning them off, grinding them down, and repurposing them to sell on for uses such as filtration media for wastewater treatment plants and sandblasting materials. They moved on from windscreens to other glass types such as window glass, pharmaglass, light bulbs, TVs, and so on. They now take a variety of waste from many industries, which includes surgical implants, microchips, construction, pharma, and a variety of other sources, and make a variety of products. For example, they use construction and other wastes to make low carbon concrete, and they take waste from the semiconductor manufacturing process to produce an additive for steel smelting processes, which enables the process to run at lower temperatures, thereby reducing emissions. At its most basic, the company takes in waste from one set of customers, reprocesses it, and sells it on as end products to another set of customers. The whole business being based on the circular economy model. So that ends my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have after everyone has presented.
Thank you, Debbie, for your overview of the circular economy, which gives a good insight to what impact it will have on present and future business operations and processes. Our next speaker is Alberta Pauly from the Department for the Economy, and she's working on the circular economy strategy for Northern Ireland.